Hello, Math Elite. You're welcome to another exciting topic on our channel today. Today, we'll be talking about quadratic expression by formula method. So in other words, we'll be learning how to solve quadratic equation using the formula method. A lot of students find this topic really challenging, but we'll try as much as we can to make it simplified as possible. So let us go into the video of today. Now, you always hear the word quadratic equations, quadratic expressions, linear equations, and linear expression. What are all of these things? What do they mean? I will start from the very first one, which is linear. What is linear? When the unknown variable of a mathematical statement, when the highest power of the unknown variable of a mathematical statement is 1, it is referred to as linear. Okay, what does it mean? Like, for instance, if I have 2x plus 4, and here I have equal to maybe 0, then I have here 2x plus 5. Now, you can see that the variable here is the unknown variable, which is x. And the power of x here is 1, which you cannot see. And the coefficient of x here is 2. Remember, we are not concerned about the coefficient. We are concerned about the power. So you can see that the highest power of the unknown variable here is 1. So therefore, it is linear. And because it's having the equality sign here, it is called linear equation. Now let's go to the other one. You see this one, if I decide to change this to 3, so you see that the coefficient does not really matter here. What matters is the power of the unknown variable. Now you see the unknown variable has the power 1 here, which you cannot see. So because it has the power 1, it is linear. And because you see there's no equality sign right here, just like we have here, this will be called linear expression. So the same thing for quadratic, cubic, biquadratic, and the rest. Now for quadratic here, if I have something like this, maybe 2x squared plus 3x plus 5 equal to 0. And I have something like maybe x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now let us examine this case. For quadratic, when the highest power of the unknown variable is 2, then it is called quadratic. Now look at this statement. Look at this mathematical statement here. You can see this is a mathematical statement, right? Not a biological statement. This is a mathematical statement. If you see, look at this mathematical statement here, you discover that the highest power of the unknown variable is 2, not 1. This is not the highest power of the unknown variable. The highest here is 2. So because it is 2, it is called quadratic. And because it is having an equality sign here, we can call it quadratic equation. And for this one, you see the highest power of the unknown variable is also 2. It is quadratic. Because there's no equality sign here, we'll call it quadratic expression. Now you see the difference between equations and expressions. And so for cubic is when the highest power of the unknown variable is 3. Something like x cubed plus 4 is equal to 0. This is 3. So this is called a cubic equation. And when it does not have the equality sign, it is called maybe a cubic expression. All right. So I believe we got this one clear. And let me go further to tell you about this stuff, about equations now, not expression. I mean equations. Since this is linear, when you solve this linear equation, you're going to get one solution because the highest power of the unknown variable is 1. So let's solve it. We have 2x will be equal to minus 4. You divide both sides by 2. So therefore, x must be equal to minus, you see, one solution. So when you solve a quadratic equation, you end up having 2 solutions or 2 roots because the highest power of the unknown variable is 2. You see the reason now. So when you solve cubic, you're expecting to get 3 solutions, right? Okay, so, and you want to ask me, I believe somebody is asking already, what about when the highest power of the unknown variable is 4? We call it quadratic equation or quadratic expression. Some people call it biquadratic. Okay, so I want you to go and figure out the rest, and I want you to stay with me to the end of this video. So let us go into solving quadratic equation like this with using the formula method. So let's go to the next slide. All right, so we want to learn how to solve quadratic equation using the formula method. Now, what is the formula? If you're given a quadratic equation in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, then you can solve this problem or this quadratic equation using the formula I'm going to write now, which will be x1, 2 is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this is the formula, and this is what most people call almighty formula. All right, so this x1 comma 2 tells you that you're going to get two solutions for x. That's the x1 and the x2. And remember, you're solving a quadratic equation, so you're expected to get two solutions. Now, the b here is talking about the coefficient of x you see here. And the a here is talking about the coefficient of the x squared. And of course, the c is talking about the constant term. So once you can figure out what a, b, and c is given to you, is you plug it in this equation and get your final answer for x. Now, mind you, this is for x because this quadratic equation depends on the unknown variable x. If it was given as maybe ay squared plus by plus c equal to 0, the quadratic equation would be something like y1 comma 2 because the unknown variable is y. So you see, that's how it changed relatively to the undetermined variable or the independent variable you are looking for. So let us take a quick example and see how to solve quadratic equation by formula method. Really simple. Now, question 1. We are given that I have x squared plus 3x plus 2 equal to 0. These are our first example for today's class. And this is a quadratic equation. Like you can see, the highest power of the new variable is 2. And you're also expected to get two solutions. And now we want to solve this problem using the formula method. So let me put up using the formula method. So what's the formula method? We've talked about it earlier. It is x1, comma 2 is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, so the mission here, before using this formula, you need to get the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c. So you can plug it right here and get your answer for x. So how do we get this value for here? So you compare this equation with the standard form of a quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Now, you see the coefficient of x squared here is your a, and which is 1 here. You see there's an invisible 1 here. So that means a must be equal to 1. And if you see now, the coefficient of x is your b, and here you see the coefficient of x here is 3, positive 3. So your b must be equal to 3. And if you look at the c part, now the c must also be equal to 2. Definitely c must be equal to 2. Now I've gotten the values of a, b, and c. So let us plug it into this formula and get our final answer. Now let's go. So we have one, x1, comma 2 is equal to minus, remember this is minus, so b is 3, so I have minus 3 here, plus or minus the root of b is 3, so I have 3 squared minus 4, a is 1, and c is 2, all divided by 2, and a is just 1. You see? Now the next thing is to simplify. So how do we simplify this, guys? So we have minus 3 plus or minus square root of 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. Then minus 4 times 1 is 4 times 2 will give me 8. All over 2 times 1 is just 2. And so we have minus 3 plus or minus square root of 1 over 2. So what is the square root of 1? Of course, the square root of 1 is 1. So I have minus 3 plus or minus 1 over 2. Remember, this is x1, comma 2, right? So we can go further to say x1, comma 2 is equal to minus 3 plus or minus 1 over 2. Now we select the x1. So x1 will be, you pick one of these signs here. You can pick positive or negative. So I want to pick the positive guy. So I have minus 3 plus 1 over 2. Or your x2 will be, now you pick the negative sign now. So you have minus 3 minus 1 over 2. So finally, x1 will be minus 3 plus 1 will give us minus 2 over 2. And minus 2 over 2 is the same as minus 1. Then here we have x2 is minus 3 minus 1 will give us minus 4 over 2. And minus 4 over 2 is the same as minus 2. So the answers or the root of this quadratic equation here is -1 and -2. I hope this is interesting. So if it is, please let me know in the comment section. But that being said, let us go to the next question. That will be question 2. I think we still have a couple of questions to solve, but this one is quite easy. So question 2. Question 2, I have 2h² minus 5h plus 3 is equal to 0. Now we want to solve this problem using the formula method. So take note, every question we're going to solve in this class will be using the formula method. So you want to write the formula now. You see, it depends on h. So I'm going to write h1, 2 is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. No, the next thing is to get the values of a and the values of b and the values of c and plug it right here to get your quadratic solutions. So let us do that. Now I'm going to compare this equation with the standard quadratic equation, which will be ah² plus bh plus c is equal to 0. You see, just like the h here is just like the x we used in the previous example. So it doesn't really change anything, just to make sure they are properly aligned. Now let's get started. What will be the value of a? I believe you know the value of a should be 2 because you see the h square, the coefficient of a square is a, and here we are having 2, so a is 2, right? Then b will be the coefficient of h, which is b here. I see the coefficient of h here is -5. Please take note of the sign. 5 is not correct. The b here should be -5 because 5, the coefficient of h here is -5, not 5. So I'll pick -5. Then lastly, c is 3. You see, picking just 3 or picking +3 is the same thing. So I do not expect you to write +3 here. It doesn't really change anything. It's the same thing as 3. Just like the other case where we just pick the numbers without the sign, because plus any number is the same number as that guy without the sign. But when it is negative, you must make sure to take along the sign because negative must always show off. So now we've gotten the value of a, b, and c. What do? We'll plug it right here into this formula. So we now have h1, 2 is equal to minus. Then what is b? B is -5. So I'm going to put it in bracket -5 like this. Then plus or minus square root of b is -5. So it will be -5 squared minus 4. My a is 2 and my c is 3. All divided by 2 times a, and a is 2. So the next thing you want to do from here is simplification only. So let's simplify all these guys. So we have minus -5 will give me +5, which is just 5. You understand? So we have plus or minus square root of -5 squared is 25. You know, -5 times -5 will give us positive something. So -5 squared is 25. Then 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 3 should be 24, right? All divided by 2 times 2 is 4. So make sure you take this division for everybody, not just for this discriminant only, for everybody. See, everybody divided by 4. Now, the next thing you want to do, you have 5 plus or minus 1. 25 minus 24 is 1, all over 4. What's the square root of 1? That's 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. 5 plus or minus 1 over 4. So therefore, h1, 2 can be written as 5 plus or minus 1 over 4, right? Then you can now separate the sides. So I want to pick the first one. h1 will be 5 plus 1 over 4, or your h2 will be 5 minus 1 over 4. And here we have here to be 6 over 4, right? And if you divide here by 2 and you divide here by 2, I think you should have 3 over 2, and that's your h1. And your h2 here is 4 over 4, right? And h2 should be 1. You see, now we've gotten the two solutions we are expected to get because we are solving a quadratic equation. I hope this is clear. So let us take one more example, and here we'll close the class. And the next class will be on completing the square, solving quadratic equation by completing the square. That will be the next question, or next video, I mean. So let's go to the next question here. All right, I'm picking these questions from a textbook, so you may see these questions in your classroom anytime. And I believe you should smash the question because we already solved them right here. All right, so I have this one here. It says x squared. This is question 3. X squared is equal to 2x plus 15. Now, how do we solve this problem? I begin to wonder, this is not looking like the one we've solved before, right? Yes, but you can actually make it look like it. So how do I do it? So I have to have x squared. Take these guys into this equation. You have minus 2x. Take this guy inside. You have minus 15. Now equal to 0. So your quadratic equation should be x1, comma 2 is equal to minus b plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, right? Right? Good. All right, so the next thing you want to do now is to find the value of AB and the value of C. So you compare it with this equation. So you compare it with the standard form of a quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So here, there's a coefficient of x here, which is 1. So if you compare the a here, you have a positive 1. So your a must be 1. Your b here, you see the b should be negative 2, right? So don't forget the sign. B must be negative 2. And of course, you see the c now will be negative 15. So c is negative 15. So now I've gotten the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c. What do? I will plug it right into this formula to get my answer. So now I have x1, comma 2 is equal to minus. So my b is negative 2. So I have it in brackets, then plus or minus b squared, which is negative 2 squared, minus 4. What is my a? A is 1 and c is minus 15. All divided by 2 times a, which is 1. So the next thing is simplification. Now you see now minus minus 2 becomes positive 2, plus or minus. Now minus 2 squared is minus 2 times minus 2, which will give us positive 4. You should know how to work around with your signs when you add or when you subtract. You should be familiar with the result. So now we have here to be minus 4 times 1 is minus 4. Then minus 4 times minus 15 should give us positive 60, right? Then all divided by 2 times 1 is 2. So from here you have 2 plus or minus square root of 64 over 2. And now you have 2 plus or minus square root of 64 is 8 because 8 times 8 is 64. So here is 8 divided by 2. So now we have x1, comma 2 is equal to 2 plus or minus 8 over 2, right? So now you separate the positive and the negative result. So I would like to take x1 to be 2 plus 8 over 2. Now you're taking the positive side, so you take the negative side now. So x2 now become 2 minus 8 over 2. It doesn't matter which of them you pick first. If you like, you want to pick the negative sign here or the positive side, it doesn't really matter, okay? You still get the same values, right? Now, so we have x1 is equal to 2 plus 8 is 10 over 2. And of course, 10 over 2 is 5. So here is x2 is equal to 2 minus 8 is minus 6, right? Minus 6 over 2. So therefore, x2 must be equal to minus 3. So the values of x1 and the values of x2 are 5 and minus 3 respectively, or minus 3 and 5 respectively. So this will come to the end of the class, and I'll leave you with just a few classwork. So I would like you to do this one. This is assignment. You can drop the answers in the comment section here. I want you to solve this problem using the formula method. Take note. Number 1 is x squared minus 7x plus 12 equal to 0. And number 2 is 2h squared minus 5h plus 3 equal to 0. So these are the two assignments I want you to solve, and I believe you found value from this video. If you do, make sure you subscribe and share this video to other learners. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next class. Bye-bye.